There. So I'm Carmen Corona. I'm a PhD student at Ingenio from the Politècnica University of Valencia. Today, I would like to present our work titled A Tool for Monitoring the Underrepresentation of Women in Conferences and Events. It is a work, excuse me, I don't know why. There. It is a work developed with Mónica García Melón, Rocío Poveda, and Hannia Gonzalez-Urango, and is part of a project called MAGI, Monitoring and Assessing Gender Gap in Events. Our research arises from the study of the gender diversity in science. It should be well known for the academic community that the diversity is crucial for the progression of science. However, numbers reveal that gender inequalities persist. In this sense, previous work have focused on different perspectives. For example, gender imbalance in the scientific structure, or gender differences in the production and publication of scientific knowledge, among others. So there are many studies considering gender inequalities in academia, but the specific research in the participation in academic conferences remain limited. The importance of participating in academic conferences is well known among members of the scientific community. It's not only useful to get feedback and for the improvement of the work, but it's also about career development, building networks, and increasing visibility. However, according to different research studies, gender balance in these events is far from being a reality nowadays. Numbers reveal a difference in the proportion of female speakers against male speakers, a disparity in presentation times by gender, or an imbalance in the number of female organizing committee members. For all of these reasons, our goal is to identify all the relevant perspectives or dimensions related to the gender gap in academic conferences and events, and to design a specific list of performance indicators for each of them. This measure will allow the organizer of academic conferences to monitor their performance according to each specific dimension. Performance indicators are supposed to shape behavior and practices in some desirable direction, in our case, into events developed with no gender gap. The tool is based on a combination of two multi-criteria techniques, analytical hierarchy process and analytical hierarchy process sort. A qualitative analysis has also been done based on in-depth interviews and information gathered from a focus group. The use of the HP has allowed us to weight the indicators according to the opinion of several experts. With these weightings, we generate composite indicators. The results are shown as a traffic light visualization where red means bad performance, yellow average performance, and green good performance. So it's helping us to present the results for each indicator. Our study identified three relevant perspectives or dimensions. The first one is the female participation in scientific conferences and events. The second is the organizational structure, and the last one is the perception of gender attitudes. We designed a specific list of performance indicators for each of them, as you can see in the slide. Once we build the final list of indicators, we use the HP technique in order to identify the more relevant indicators to produce a tailored reduced set of them. In this sense, to obtain a group judgment, we use the geometric mean to aggregate individual judgments. To do the prioritization of indicators, we use the 11 participants from the previous focus group who had diverse disciplines and backgrounds and different gender approaches. The answers to the questionnaire were collected by the expert choice software. For this analysis, the most relevant indicator for the participation dimension was the number of female keynote speakers. In the case of the organizational structure dimension, was the event facilities regarding gender policies. And finally, the third dimension was considered as a whole, since it's a unique qualitative indicator. The global priority result obtained for all the group of experts were used in order to build composite indicators for the event. Finally, we measure scales and thresholds for each indicator. Measurement scale should allow us, on the one hand, to identify the measured value with a determined category or class, green, amber, or red, and on the other hand, to construct composite indicators for each dimension based on all the individual indicators. To sort the values obtained in the monitoring process of the conference, we propose to use HP sort. They indicate the minimum level for a value measured to achieve the amber and the green classes that we call equilibrium threshold, amber, in the first place, and the parity threshold, green, in the second place. These values have to be always considered in relation to the total number of women who belong to a certain knowledge area. The classification in the different knowledge areas and the percentage of women in each of them have been obtained according to a political report. We applied our tool in a conference so far of the innovation knowledge area. It took place in Norway in January this year. In this case, the threshold for each indicator was calculated according to two main sources. The first one was a database on information about parity figures in the different scientific areas. The second one was the number of participants attending to the conference according to the type of participation. Following the HP procedure, pairwise comparisons were fulfilled and the local priorities for each single one measured for the conference. For each indicator, the limiting profiles were calculated. Each indicator has been assessed by applying the classification technique HP sort. The only dimension that got the green light was gender attitudes perception, which indicates that the attitudes observed in the unofficial dynamics of the conference were very positive and did not induce gender bias. The amber result in the first dimension creates the expectation that with a little improvement of some of its weak points, it could get a green result with some ease. Finally, we offer some proposals for improvement action to the red indicators. The work carried out highlights the need to broaden the study of gender equality in academic conferences, not only regarding the participation, but also the performance of different roles and functions. The use of the HP and AHP sort has allowed us to weight the indicators according to the opinion of several experts and generate from these weightings composite indicators for each of the three dimensions. Also, we want to emphasize as very relevant that these indicators have been classified in three dimensions: participation, organizational structure, and attitudes, which allows their analysis both individually and combining among them. Having the indicators classified in these three dimensions make it easier to adapt the evaluation tool to all possible conference contexts. I mean, online and in real-time conference, which is very interesting in the post-COVID-19 time. Also, a tool to monitor academic events requires the ability to use it independently of the discipline. Therefore, the applicability of our tool favors its use in any discipline. Likewise, the tool also allows us to compare results between different conferences. And finally, in the fieldwork, a binary gender system, male and female, has been assumed in order to delimit and speed up research. However, we are aware of the different forms of expression and identification that can occur in this type of event. A different limitation is the necessity for physical presence in the session to record their participation times. And finally, we consider the most complex aspect is the work with experts when considering all the pairwise comparisons required by the HP sort. It won't always be easy to count on the collaboration of people linked to the organization of the event and with a historical vision of the evolution of the conference. So this is everything for now. We keep working on this project, so every comment and suggestion will be really welcome. Many thanks for your attention.